in that particular scenario that you just presented about paternity leave, uh, you woman, as a woman, you just gave birth to another human being. So you can't expect to have the same rights that a woman would have. Although a lot of corporations have moved to extending that to men as well, you can't, it's like comparing apples to oranges. You know what I mean? Women still have to damn near wear diapers after they give birth to a child. Like, we're bleeding. We're all sorts of things are happening with our body. Our body needs time to recover. What, I'm sorry, with all due respect, what are you recovering from when a woman gives birth?
I mean, but Brittany, that's the point where the equality part. That's the whole
Yes,
point of what
He,
it's stating.
she
I just
all
want to
that.
point
She
out
missed
that
all
I
that.
said
Let,
that
let,
though.
let them talk.
No, no,
They'll talk themselves into a goddamn corner.
I
Go
didn't
ahead,
say
man.
at the same time, even after you give birth and care for a whole human being that you just brought into this world, you still have bills to pay too, and you still have to get back to it as well. So, like, what are you saying? Like, I don't understand what the point
Hey,
is.
that's what I'm saying. You got a whole husband that's right there to
Okay,
offset while you taking
there
time.
could be.
Or you just
Okay,
talking about being a baby mama. Okay, well, I ain't with that shit. Go ahead. I ain't talking
let's
about being a baby mama. I'm talking about being a wife.
reel it back on in. Reel it back on in. I was married for 12 years, in a relationship for 14 years, and I made the choice to exit that situation. I was
I
never made a,
understand, but man, I'm
and
talking
I
about the
have
example. I'm talking.
support,
Go ahead,
and
man.
I have great partnership and support by my ex-husband. So I am not a statistic, and that is very condescending. And that goes back to the rhetoric that we talked about earlier about how men feel about Black women. But I'm going to leave that right there because this is not what the topic is right now. But we're going to leave that right there. You just proved my point that I was trying to make earlier.
Well, no, Brittany, he was going off of the example that you brought up. So you said that you have to get back to paying. Well, you have to still pay the bills. So all he said was acknowledge. Well, that's what you have a husband for. So in that scenario that you mentioned, we're assuming that we're talking about that you're in a committed relationship with a man that's there to help aid and assist in paying those bills.
But
So that
hopefully, when you just had a child, yes, hopefully. I mean, I'm not glorifying getting out there having children without a partner in the home because, yes, you're going to need that support.
right.
But I get that part.
Well, yeah, that's
I
that.
don't think you
We're
do.
just
But
going off. We're just going off
I,
that
I didn't
example.
You wouldn't
understand
have took left then,
the
ma'am.
quality rabbit hole that we were going down.
Well, let's
Man,
talk about like
if you understood it, you wouldn't have took it left the way you did. Talking about I'm not a statistics. Nobody's saying you
no.
was, man. I'm just using that as an example.
You took it there talking
Okay,
about baby.
To play devil's advocate in today's society,
I
you
got
need two people working in the household to actually be able to maintain all of the bills and to live a comfortable life. So even with that argument, yes, you may have that husband, but maybe your husband's job and his income cannot sustain your household. Maybe you are the breadwinner. Maybe you make more than your husband makes. That doesn't make him less of a man or less of a hard worker, but we cannot live just off of your income. So even though you have a husband in the household, the woman still has to get back to it. I also want to point out, Hank, that I specifically said that when it comes to the conversation about equality and pay, the reason why men get paid more is because they work more. We have way more time when we're actually off because we have children, because we decide to step away from families. I literally stated that. I never said that I feel that we should be equal across the board. It's impossible to do so because we are the ones that give birth to children. And when we do that, we usually want to spend our time with our kids. We usually have to pick between giving our energy to our career or giving our energy to our children. I just wanted to throw that out there because you came with the hostility on the equality thing, and all the women did not have that sentiment.
Yeah, I said you got to choose.
So I wanna add a different perspective, or maybe perhaps I want to interject a cultural perspective. I understand that when a couple gets together or a couple gets married and they're embarking on a new journey of having a newborn, bringing a child into this world. Obviously, there's a lot of family planning, time off requested right there. all these conversations about how much time you're gonna take off and just saving it all. I think sometimes what we tend to kind of not highlight is, where does your parents come into the play picture, right? Your parents helping you out during that transition time when you've already given birth. Excuse me, when you've already given birth to your first child, right? You having that extra set of hands around to aid, to help and aid you, right? That sense of community of people, while you're at home, because I understand it's not a perfect situation. I don't think that even if he does get time off, he'll probably get 3 weeks off, sometimes 4. Like this is not like Europe, unfortunately. Like we don't get a whole lot of time off. And the way that the United States of America Corporation views family overall is not the most beneficial lens that most people share. I think that women need a whole year off. You know what I'm saying? Not like 4 weeks and then you're back in the office. I think that's just terrible. But unfortunately, there's a lot of things that you have to do behind the scenes to kind of plan and kind of overlap and build in time and equity in certain vehicles to kind of pick up from where you have time off. But I also want to bring back the family component about, where's the auntie or the grandma or the mother who's much more senior, but she's around, right, to be there to help and aid you. Having the extra hand of another woman who also is in your loving community or extension. I think that's just as important. I think what happens is that people have their family, that's fine, and then they're just isolated. It's just you and the husband, and that can grow a lot of tension, especially with women who are suffering from post
Pardon.
partum. Thank you. I'm a little bit agitated, had a little bit too much postpartum, and that's something that is missed at times too. And I think that family planning component to kind of ensure that the relationship doesn't hit those very, rough, very tumultuous moments, that needs to also come into play. And I think that people need to bring that up more and have these kind of conversations with loved ones to ensure that they have the kind of support that they need while they're going through that time period. How you?
Well,
So one of the
unfortunately,
issues is that we have in our Black community is that we don't plan properly. That's one of our issues. So you now, Ty, you sit there and say, well, what if she's the breadwinner? Okay, we need to plan properly. If she's the breadwinner, then maybe it's not our time to have a kid right now. Maybe I need to get some more training, more certification, so I can either get a better job, or maybe I need to go out there and get a part-time job to offset any monies that's going to be short because the wife, who is the breadwinner, is working. Maybe we need to do that. Unfortunately, our community, we don't plan for the kids. We just have them oops babies. That's how we like to roll. Oh, we're having a baby. Oops. It wasn't planned. It wasn't budget. We understand. I don't know how long it's going to take. How many more mistakes, bumps on here we got to take. Kids are expensive. It's not cheap to have kids. It's a very expensive investment that you're making when you have kids. Yet we still go out here and have all these goddamn babies and don't plan for none of them. We just work on the fly. Is that what we're pushing? Is that what we promote now? That's exactly what y'all doing when y'all saying what they're saying. Well, she's a breadwinner, so she came forward to get bullshit. Make arrangements, make adjustments, do what you have to do.